0, 1, 2, 3. Let's get started.
Oh, that's real good.
What is going on, everybody? Thank you so much for joining me this evening. This is episode 2 of the Wide Open Report. And looking a little different today or this week. Had trouble with my contacts and haven't yet made it into the doctor to get some more. So I get the glasses tonight. But hey, I wanted to jump on here and hang out for a little bit and talk to you about a few different things. One is the well. Let me just go to the videos first, and then we'll jump in on the discussion. So, one thing that I wanted to make mention of this evening, I actually found multiple videos for tonight, but one is the incredible things we can do with 3D printing. And it never even crossed my mind until I saw this come across my feed this week. And I wanted to share it with y'all. This may not necessarily apply to many of your ideas of something cool or something like that, but I thought it was incredible use of 3D printing, an incredible way of being able to legitimately visualize a part or legitimately experience and test a part immediately without the need for having to go through the full manufacturing process and casting a part or machining a part or anything like that. You can literally build it out in your CAD device, however the 3D printing stuff works. I'm still very new to it. And create the part in hours instead of days or weeks when you're in the midst of either fabrication or machining or casting or something like that. And it means that that part then can be digitally shared with multiple people. So you could actually sell that, what would you call it, that program or that file to people and be able that then at that point they can build their own with their own 3D printer at a fraction of the cost of what a normal part would potentially cost you. Plus, then you also have the added benefit of being able to manipulate things on the fly. So as you'll see in this video, there's multiple little parts here laid out on the table. Let me pull this up here real quick and let me grab a different screen share. I believe it is not that one, this one. So we're going to jump in here real quick. I'm going to add this to the stage. Yeah, it puts me off to the side. So this is the Dub Shop. So these are velocity stacks, and they are testing the flow rate for these different velocity stacks. So you'll see this number right here, the actual cubic feet per minute of flow, and watch that number as he manipulates this piece, this velocity stack, as he sets it down over top of this piece here. It's a pretty incredible little display of the way air moves and how much more how much better it can be controlled simply by changing the apparatus that the air is flowing through. So check this out real quick. even and you can hear it in the machine. You can hear it in this process. Literally, the only thing he's changing is that piece over the top. So it's it's adding half as much again the amount of flow, which is if you know anything about engines, you know that airflow is key, right? Airflow is the basis of all. uh, an engine is an air pump. So if you can get the air to flow through the engine faster and more efficiently, then you're going to make more power overall. So as a just a really cool, quick example of ways that 3D printing and our technologies have um, progressed to the point where we can test out different parts. You saw the different ones there on the screen, and they actually, I would highly recommend you go check them out on Facebook. They had a little series of tests with the different velocity stacks for that. Those are for a carburetor for a Volkswagen engine, and man, I just thought that was the coolest thing. Watching those being swapped out one from another, and just the drastic change going from no velocity stack to that bell in the video, and how drastically it changes the flow rate. It's just incredible. So just a fun little video to start with there. And then I did find, because we all have to laugh a little, right? I found one more I wanted to share with you. Actually found this one just this evening, and I just about laughed out loud. Um, I thought it was hysterical. Um, Testing out the new sway bar I installed. That's it. In case you missed it, there it went. One more time. Oh yeah. No, it's funny every time you watch it. Oh no, I didn't add it. Wait, let me add it back. Totally goofed that one up. Here we go. Let me get back over here to this. Now you can laugh with me. Totally just laughing at myself. Yeah, here it is again. Hysterical. It's hysterical. Testing out the new bar. Oh my. Oh my. Well, hopefully your modifications to your vehicles don't go quite that badly. Thanks, Dad, for chiming in there. Let me know it wasn't showing because I'm the doofus. That's why. Yeah, I messed that one up. But there, I was able to show it to you. Yeah, so just a fun little snippet there of just a funny video. Anyway, well, this week I wanted to jump in here and talk about something that I've been looking at lately. So, a lot of my topics of discussion, at least initially here on the show, are going to kind of surround them or be um, somewhat related to the build and price pages on manufacturers' websites. I spend a lot of time, my wife would tell you, way too much time on the build and price pages on websites. But I think they are incredible tools. I think they're incredibly fun tools to be able to get on and see the different packages you can build out, to see the different options that you can put in and add in and things like that. And probably one of the things that irritates me the most about them is when manufacturers will actually limit the way that you can stack the packages. To me, it's just an irritating little fault of the build and price, but some of them can be changed by the manufacturer, some of them cannot. But this evening in particular, excuse me, I'm going to jump around to a couple of different pages. Try not to make anybody real sick or anything by jumping around too much, but I wanted to go over to, and let's see, we can start. We're going to start with Toyota. I wanted to start with a manufacturer who has led the way in the passenger car field for a very, very, very long time. Toyota has done an incredible job of building incredible vehicles for decades, literally decades. And they know that their vehicles will be used and abused and likely not taken care of like they should be. And they build that into their vehicles so that they know that you'll keep it for a very long time. Well, probably one of the most popular cars, or well, it was the most popular car for many, many, many years running. The Toyota Camry, uh, in particular, we're going to look at this evening. But sedans as a whole are they seem to be a dying breed here in the states. Um, I will say probably don't have so much a pulse on what's going on outside of the U.S. as far as the auto market is concerned. I will definitely change that in the coming weeks and months so that I'm better apprised or better aware of what's going on outside the U.S. market. But for tonight's discussion, I wanted to talk about sedans. We're gonna cover pretty much if a manufacturer offers a sedan, whether it's a compact, subcompact, midsize, full size, whatever. We're going to talk about it for a few minutes this evening. And so let's jump over there. We're going to go to their build and price over here on Toyota's website. Toyota is a little annoying when it comes to their build and price. To me, it's just not as intuitive as other build and price pages. But for the sake of the argument, right here on the homepage, you have what they want you to buy first: crossovers and SUVs, right? And then it's cars and minivan, and then it's trucks, and then the electrified and the upcoming vehicles. But they would much rather you come over here and spend $24,000 on a Corolla Cross than they would you come over here to the Corolla and spend $22,000. When in fact, this is probably plenty of vehicle for what you need. And that's a part of my argument or discussion this evening is why are we continuing to buy crossovers and SUVs? Why are auto manufacturers continuing to expand? Look at this. The amount of offerings when it comes to crossovers and SUVs, and they continue to dwindle the amount of cars. Like there's the sports stuff, right? The GR86, the GR Corolla, the GR Supra. Those are great. But then you have the Prius, the Crown, whatever. I don't even know how to say that one. Mirai, the Camry, and the Corolla. And then there's variations of each of those. But Toyota's the exception in this. Toyota, Kia, Hyundai are kind of the oddballs out when it comes to the sedan world. And I've got Honda pulled up here as well. We'll take a look at them here in a few minutes. But I wanted to just spend a little bit of time here and discuss some of these details because I think it's important for people to realize and recognize how crazy the market is when it comes to cars. I mean, I have pros and cons in this, right? I have the frustration of there's not a need for an SUV or a CUV, and then I have the frustration of why are the cars so expensive? It's almost as if the manufacturers are pushing us in the direction. Well, we know that for a fact, pushing us in the direction of the CUVs and SUVs, and I would imagine it has a lot to do with profit margins. Would just be my guess. But for the sake of the argument, we're going to jump on here real quick. I have been searching for something that I can drive back and forth to work in that will be economical, that still has four doors so that I can put a baby in it if I need to. My youngest is almost 2, he turns 2 next month. And so definitely still in a car seat, definitely spending, have to have room for him. Right now he's in a rear facing, so I've got to have plenty of room for that car seat in the vehicle. So Corolla may actually be just a little bit cramped for putting a rear facing car seat in. But I can also tell you that the Corolla Cross really isn't much bigger. The RAV4 really isn't much bigger. Um, the Highlander is probably the size I would have to go to in order to get one that would be large enough for us to have four people in the vehicle, and one of those four being my youngest. So that's the again that plays into the frustration element of the CUV versus car element. A couple of years ago, it's kind of a bit of a tangent, but it plays in here. A couple of years ago, I was looking at the Honda Odyssey versus the Honda Pilot and the capabilities there. I know this is not apples to apples necessarily, but it somewhat applies. The Honda Odyssey versus the Honda Pilot. Why is it that they charge more for the Honda Pilot, and yet you get less room, fewer seats, and in a lot of ways less capability? There's some off-road chops that you get or have the potential to get with the Pilot that you don't get with the Odyssey. But what 95% of the drivers who buy Odysseys and or Pilots will be doing with them, the Odyssey would be far superior. It's more comfortable. It gets better mileage. It has more room in the back. From Honda's website, you can look at their the calculated square footage of the rear of the cabin space, and there's more room in the back of the Odyssey than there is in the Pilot. So why would you buy a Pilot? It's even more money. Why would you buy a Pilot? I don't know. I'm genuinely asking the question this week because I just don't completely understand the benefit, if there is one, and the appeal necessarily to the SUV over a minivan, especially. But as far as the cars are concerned, this week, again, Corolla Cross 24,135, Corolla 22,325, so almost $2,000 cheaper right out of the gate. So we're going to go in here and check out the build and price. You'll get to see what my zip code is if I can type it in right. So here we go. LE 22,325, hybrid LE. Even better, the hybrid is less money again than the Corolla Cross by about $300. You can't touch this mileage in a CUV or an SUV. You can't touch it. 53 miles to the gallon in the city and 46 on the highway. It is they don't exist. they just don't exist unless you're going full EV. And again, I would argue that there's still limitations there that would point you back to a car. So, for the sake of the argument, we'll build and price out an LE base model, simple. I like the blue. It's actually less money than the windshield pearl or the ruby flare pearl. I also really like the underground color. Toyota does a great job with their color options. But here's what I'm talking about with Toyota's build and price page. Like, naturally, the next button should be down here, but it isn't. That's the finished build page. So what they want you to do is to keep scrolling down through here. Okay, 2-liter 4-cylinder engine, front wheel drive, dynamic shift, continuously variable transmission. I will say that CVT, I know it's Toyota. I know they do a good job with anything that they manufacture. That CVT has me leery of going this direction right out of the gate. We'll avoid the LE convenience, the LE premium, and we'll just move right into finish the build. 23,545. And look at this thing. I mean, honestly, it's a great little car. It's a great little commuter. It's going to get incredible mileage, even being naturally aspirated and no hybrid benefits there. It it is going to be a fantastic car for someone for 250,000 miles, and the worst you'll have to do is change the oil in the tires. Literally, that's it. They are incredible, incredible little rigs. Um, the Camry and the Corolla, Camry and Corolla both. I mentioned the Corolla early on. Or I'm sorry, the Camry early on, as being kind of that staple vehicle for many, many, many years. The go-to rig for people to jump into for everything, for their daily, for the benefit of having a vehicle and good mileage and still being able to get the family around and all that kind of stuff. So it's yeah, I'm just having a tough time with this, honestly, justifying a CUV or an SUV over a full size or mid size sedan. So this is a little different here. This is the Camry. We get this XSE package, a sport package. XLE is kind of a little more luxurious, and then we kind of get a base model and kind of a little more sporty look here as well. But even at that, base model 28,700, 53 and 50. Now the Camry, I do believe, I have to go back here and look, but I do believe that the Camry is only the Camry only comes in a hybrid, so that's something to consider. Personally, I don't think it's a ding. I think that's a bonus. Again, if you're going for something that will seat four people comfortably, put a car seat in the back of it if you had to, and still get great mileage and be everything you want it to be, or be everything you need it to be, rather. I think it's a great option. Um, so to bounce back over here, for the sake of the argument, let's look at the Corolla Cross. So Camry versus Corolla, or Camry versus Corolla Cross, rather. So base model, 31 and 33. Now, I will admit that's pretty good. Okay, that's pretty great mileage for a CUV. And even down here on the hybrid side, the hybrid S, 45 and 38 is incredible fuel mileage for the CUV market. It's great, but you're really not gaining any space. It is less mileage than the Corolla, and you still are you're still spending more money on fuel and more money in general because it's got a $28,000 price tag. The base model's got a $24,000 price tag. Again, I just don't get it. I don't understand. So there's the Toyota side. We'll look at that. Now, I want to bounce over here. I want to take a look at a couple of comments here. So Dad did let me know that the video wasn't working. My bad. As far as the minivans are concerned, yeah, well, I get it. All right. I mean, I don't get it, but I get it because she doesn't like minivans. Just because you have a minivan doesn't mean you have to be a minivan mom. Okay. It's, you are a mom, but I don't understand why you don't like minivans. Yeah, that's just me. I don't. It's a minivan. I mean, it does everything well, and I think a lot of them look really, really good lately. So, anyway, I'll have that argument with my wife later, I'm sure. So, let me jump over here. We will take a look at. Let's go to Kia's website. So Kia, again, Kia is one who has hung around on the car bandwagon The big three auto manufacturers. Um, Dodge is a story in and of itself that I don't have time to go into this week. But GM has all but ceased making cars. They still make the Camaro and the Corvette, but those are in the sports realm. They're not like a passenger vehicle kind of a thing. And Ford has stopped making cars except for the Mustang. So they are out of the sedan coupe game completely. They don't even, it's not even in their repertoire anymore. So um, yeah, I don't completely understand it, but there it is. And I'll point to this too. Bam, right out of the gate. SUV, CUV, MPV, right? They've got them all grouped here together. And then the hybrid versions of them. And there's some great vehicles, okay? Please don't misunderstand me. There are some great vehicles available in these lineups. The Soul, I was amazed. I rented a Soul, drove to Memphis, Tennessee, and back in a day. It was a rough way to spend 20 hours on the road. Wasn't quite 20 hours. It was a rough way to spend a day, but the Kia Soul actually made it very enjoyable. It was very easy to drive, very comfortable. I have no complaints towards the Soul, except that it is more money than the sedans. It isn't. This is going to foil my whole plan. Here we go. 2025 Kia K4 sedan, 21,990. And the K4. The K5 is 27,390. Let's go back up here to the Soul. 20,490. Oh no. Oh no. So there we go. Kia recognizes that this is the best bang for your buck right here, the Soul. It really is. The Seltos, again, another great rig, but it bumps it up in the money spec up above the K4 by almost $3,000. So anyway, I'm undoing or unraveling my own argument here for the sake of trying to make a point, and Kia is ruining it for me. But let's go in here and take a look at the K4. Don't sleep on this rig, okay? If you want to have something that will be great for 100,000 miles, you won't have to worry about it. It'll be a solid rig. I think they make incredible first vehicles for kids going off to college or anything like that. Just don't expect to get the 250,000 plus miles out of it that you would get out of the Toyotas, and don't expect to sell them for any value once they're paid off. Kia has done an incredible job of changing their appearance in the lineup. The way that the cars and SUVs and CUVs look now is incredible. They are some of the best looking vehicles on the road, but the resale value is not following yet that bump in the resale values. So the way that they look is not yet caught up with, or the other way around, I guess the resale values haven't yet caught up with the way that the Kias look. There's still that bit of hesitation when it comes to the longevity side of things. So here we go. 2025 K4. That's going to get me messed up somehow or another, I'm sure. All right, next, exterior. Black pearl, interstellar gray. Let's stick with the gray. Cloth interior. Oh, excuse me. Cloth interior, just like the Toyota. Couple features here, little accessories and whatnot. We'll skip on past that. So, destination fee. $1,100, almost $1,200 for destination fee. So $23,165 for a K5. And this one doesn't give me the fuel economy. So let me look that up real quick while we're talking. Kia K4 fuel economy is 30 miles to the gallon in the city, 40 miles to the gallon on the highway. And so 34 combined MPGs. If you get the GT line, it does drop down a little bit. 26 and 36 for a 29 combined, which is still great in my opinion. So not quite as stellar as the Corolla necessarily, especially on the hybrid side of things, but definitely still a very solid vehicle. And for the price point, it's kind of hard to beat. But you bounce back over here, the Soul is kind of it's there, but man, it's kind of in a league all its own. Honestly, it's its own thing. We will take a look at it here in a minute. But the Seltos, let's go over here to the Seltos for a minute. $24,690, so $25,000 for a Seltos. It is a small vehicle. Again, trying to put a car seat in the back of this, you're going to struggle with it. Trying to put a car seat in the back of the K4, it's probably going to be a struggle. So just things to consider overall. These are great little cars, though. Ride good. They're very comfortable. Let's get on down here to the summary. There we go. $1,400 destination, so $26,000 out the gate. And for the sake of argument, let's take a look at the Seltos fuel economy. With the 2.0, it is 28 and 34. So you don't get quite the mileage for the highway. Is 6 miles per gallon less on the highway, 2 miles per gallon less in the city. So very comparable to the K4, but still less. So again, the whole point of the argument is what's the benefit of the smaller of the CUV over the cars, over the sedans. So let's look one more place. I don't want to drag this out too long. I feel like we may be dragging it a little bit already. But let's see here. We're going to stop that one. Share screen. Share screen. All right. I'll make sure I'm over at the right page before we jump in here. All right. Oh, so Grant jumped in here and says, I strongly disagree that trucks are better. Wait, so are you saying you strongly disagree that trucks are better than cars, or you strongly disagree, and there should be a comma there, and saying that trucks are better than cars? I would agree with you if that's the case, but yes, agreed. Trucks are better. They handle off-road better. They handle towing better. They handle people better. They handle pretty much everything better except for fuel economy. Cars are hard to beat in that department. And if all I'm doing is driving this thing back and forth to work, honestly, fuel economy is kind of king in that regard. So there we go. All right, let's jump over here to Honda's website for just a minute. And I want to compare these real quick. Let's see. Oops, I shared the wrong one. Let me grab this again. Stand by. Let's see. There we go. Now we're getting somewhere. All right. Vehicles. Would you look at that? They got SUVs and crossovers right up front. And they've got a bunch. The HRV, the CRV, the Passport, the Pilot, the Prologue, the CRV FCEV, whatever that is. Good grief. And then you've got the cars and sedans. Now, this may look like there's a lot here, but there are only two. Yes, you heard me right. The Civic and the Accord. And that's it. That's it. That's all you get. The minivan and the little pickup. The Civic sedan, yeah, they try and change it up a little bit. Okay, sedan hybrid, SI sedan, Type R, hatchback. Like, I get it, but it's still just a Civic. They have them all listed out here, and it's still just the Civic. So, anyway, we do get a tick better down here on the base model Civic sedan. We did get a couple of ticks better on fuel economy than the K4, but the entry price is a little higher as well. So, looking at $24,595 on a Civic sedan versus the K4, which was down around 22, I believe. And if we get in here and build this out with destinations and whatnot, I'm sure it's going to be closer to the 26 mark, likely. Here again, CVT issue for me. I'm not a fan of the CVT, just not. Stick with the gray. I like the gray, black cloth interior, really sharp, really simple. We didn't look at the interior necessarily on the K4, but very nice, just simple, clean, laid out design here for the interior on the Civic. I like that. Wheels and tires, not really that interested in picking something different right now. Just trying to get over here to sort of a summary. There's the summary. All right, what do we got? $1,200 worth of destination fees. So, yep, just under $26,000 for the Civic, which honestly, I mean, you're going to be at 25 grand pretty much across the board, regardless of what you get, unless you're dipping into like a Nissan Versa, which are smaller and less capable and less reliable than anything else we've talked about this evening. And they're the only reason I have even remotely considered a Nissan Versa is because they still offer a true manual transmission in the Versa. Now, before you throw stones at me, yes, I know, Honda does offer a manual transmission in the Civic, but you have to get the SI in order to get that. And let's see, let's just jump over here real quick. So you'll notice more horsepower means worse fuel economy, unless you go with the hybrid and then you're way up there, but you don't get the manual with that. So manual transmission, Civic Si, we're already $6,000 or $7,000 more, but you get the manual, and I love the manual. So some things to weigh out. Obviously, I don't think a manual transmission, there's 50 horsepower there and a manual transmission. I'm not necessarily thinking that that would be the best thing in my case for the sake of fuel economy. It would be a lot more fun. And I do have some windy roads that I go down back and forth to work, along with some highway driving. That would be a lot of fun with a Civic Si, tightened up suspension and that kind of thing. But I just don't know that it's worth it. I don't think it's worth it for my current situation to go that route. So let's look over here just real quick. Let me bounce you guys back over here to the HRV. Let's see. What do we got? Let's go back over here real quick. So HRV, CRV hybrid. So HRV is 26 and 32, which is a considerable drop compared to the Civic, which is 32 and 41. So the highway mileage for the HRV is the same as the city mileage for the sedan Civic. We get a little better here with the CRV. It's intriguing because it's a smaller vehicle with smaller packaging. You would think it would be better, but you're also jumping up $5,000 over the Civic. So again, is it worth it? There's $5,000 there, and the fuel economy is worse. And there's not really that much more space in a CUV over an SUV, or excuse me, over a sedan. I promise you there isn't. I promise. Basically, they take everything that's laid back in a sedan and stand it up. probably the best argument, and I'm actually going to go over there real quick while I'm thinking about it. I'm going to pull up Mazda's website because Mazda is probably the worst offender of this by far. And I have some friends who are huge Mazda fans, so don't think it as me being critical necessarily, except they have two vehicles that are built off of the same platform that are essentially the same vehicle, just one is a little taller than the other. Okay, you ready for this? Here we go. I'm going to add this in, grab, where'd it go? There it is. We're going to grab this right here. So you have the Mazda CX-30, okay, $25,195. Okay, you see the profile of that, right? It's just decent looking little CUV, kind of long in the nose, but nice looking little rig, right? $25,195. You know what's built on the same exact platform, almost with the same profile. It just sits a little lower to the ground. Yep, Mazda 3 hatchback, $25,150. Okay, $25,195, $25,150. $45 difference. Okay, $45 difference between the two. And let's just look. What's the fuel economy difference between the 2025 Mazda 3? It is 27 miles to the gallon in the city, 37 miles to the gallon on the highway. Okay. CX30. It's a CX, right? Let me get back over there and look real quick so I don't misspeak. CX30. Yep. Okay. CX30. Mazda CX30 fuel economy is 26 miles to the gallon city, 33 miles to the gallon highway. So that $45 costs you, what is it, 2 miles to the gallon? No, now I forget. Okay, 27 miles to the gallon in the city, 37 on the highway for the Mazda 3. There it is, 26 miles to the gallon. So a mile to the gallon in the city, and what is that? 4 miles to the gallon on the highway for the CX-30, and they are the same vehicle. They are almost identical in so many ways. It's insane. It honestly almost bothers me. And I wasn't even showing you. Okay, there's the CX-30. Yep, CX-30, $25,195, right? Not a bad looking little rig, okay? 26 miles to the gallon in the city, 33 miles to the gallon on the highway, right? CX-30, $25,195. A lot of numbers I'm throwing at you. $25,150, Mazda 3 hatchback. Boy, that profile looks familiar, doesn't it? Mazda 3 hatchback, $25,150. $45 cheaper MSRP. And you get 27 miles to the gallon in the city. So 1 mile per gallon better. And 37 miles to the gallon better on the highway. They're the same vehicle with the same powertrain, the same substructure, probably the same hood. It's genuinely, they probably have the same hood. And yet, for $45 different, for $45 more, you get worse fuel economy and less space. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. Tell me I'm wrong. Leave me a comment. Tell me that I am backwards in my thinking on this, because I can't figure it out. I've been through the build and price on multiple manufacturers. Obviously, some a little better than others, but the through line is almost across the board, almost unanimous, that CUVs and SUVs cost more, they get worse fuel economy, and you don't gain anything space-wise within them for paying more money for it. It just doesn't make any sense to me. But that's just my opinion. Drop yours in the comments. I appreciate you sticking with me this evening. I did kind of rant a bit, but that's kind of the point, right? We're ranting, we're raving, we're having some fun. I want to say thank you to those that jumped on, mostly my family, or in particular my family, who enjoys harassing me and appreciates that I have an outlet now for talking about cars instead of talking their ears off. This is kind of my opportunity to dive into that a little bit, and so I want to say thank you to them, and thank you to all of you who are listening and joining me live here. I am working on some details for the coming weeks and months for shows, for some details about events and things like that are coming up in the area, and adding. This evening we're casting or streaming rather just to YouTube, but I'm planning on adding Rumble to that as well, and to Facebook Live to just continue to grow the community and grow the opportunity for us to discuss lots of different things. Automotive, probably throw some boats in on occasion. Pretty much, if it burns fuel, we're going to talk about it at some point here on the channel. So thank you again very much for joining me, and we will see you guys next Monday night, 9 p.m. right here. Thanks.